Moving on, let's open up the horizon a little bit here in the sessions this afternoon. Now, let's make our views more panoramic to see how internet can help scale new markets, reach international customers, and help establish on a global scale. To exemplify this and give us some real business insights, please welcome onto the stage.
Good afternoon, guys. So we have a interesting panel. We have an esteemed panel with experts from different fields. And the topic of discussion is how internet can help scale new markets and expand the global slice. Going global has become a business imperative for a lot of these companies. Right? So it's not an option anymore. It is almost like an imperative for a lot of these companies to go global. So the question that I want to ask now, the panelists right now, is that, when do you decide that this is the time to go global? Is it because everyone else is doing it? Is it because your investor asks you to keep increasing the total addressable market? Or is it because there is truly an opportunity, right? So I want to begin with you, Alfred.
Thank you.
What is your take on going global?
Sure, Sudhakar. There are multiple factors to it if you look at the product mix perspective, whether the product is right to take global. It also depends on how well you're doing in the local market as well. So if you've reached a maturity stage from a product life cycle perspective, then you want to increase reach customers and increase revenue, then obviously it's the right time as well. One of the major factors that I've also seen is if you see a gap in the target market that you have, and if your product is really going to solve a customer problem, and if there is a sizable market for that, then that's definitely a right time to take it to the new market as well.
That's interesting. Shantakumar, what is your take on going global? Because Dabur is a fairly large FMCG company, and you are into multiple markets there. What prompted Dabur to go international?
So fundamentally, initially we saw an initial market cap for UAE market which we had achieved in terms of our e-commerce vertical. We also understood a culture in terms of where the Indian diaspora is there, a likelihood of the same kind of diaspora like markets like Saudi and Arab diaspora, or even markets like Egypt and Africa. So what we did is we found a potential of first reaching to the Indian diaspora wherever, because as a brand, it's an origin from the country. It has a lot of brand equity which is built on the e-commerce as well. So that's where we expanded to different markets. Obviously, we took profitability into concern with a healthy bottom line. Then we kind of moved into different territories one by one. It is a step-by-step process. We moved in KSA. Now today Dabur is operating in Japan, because people don't know that Japanese people also like a lot of Indian products. Brands like Dabur, Himalaya also have been most of the demand in Japan market. So today Dabur is selling right from Japan market in e-commerce to even China, Tmall and JD.com. So in 1 year we have expanded exponentially, did a digital transformation, but yes, with a conscious mind of keeping moving towards a proper profitable growth. It's not just we just wanted to expand just because others were getting expanded or just wanted to burn cash. Dabur does not believe in that. We believe in making profits, okay, and going step by step and analyzing in the digital transformation of the markets.
Okay, Shantanu. It's interesting, Anthony. Shantanu mentioned that having local understanding of the market, understanding the consumer is very important. So when you go global, so how do you decide on having, what are the 3 most important aspects that you see in going global?
For us, and for me especially, go global, it's first of all when you have profitable unit economics and you understand that success case when your company became profitable and you have enough ambitions to make international company. It's like success connection of to these points, then you're able to go global. And of course, scale of quality product, it's the third important thing that with true quality product, you need to go global.
So how important is to have a local partner, a partner who can really understand the market in your going global journey?
We have investors of our company that who help to us go global, and they have experience in different countries, for example in Saudi, for example in Qatar, and for example in Oman. And with them we use the experience, and we use our product and market fit which we achieved here, and we are going with them abroad.
Thank you. So Rohit, you come from a family business, right? So
Yeah.
you are the third generation entrepreneur in the family business. So what do you think is the reason for going global?
So I will say that, prior to COVID, maybe we were thinking a little bit more locally. We were focusing a lot in Dubai, and we were opening quite a bit of brick and mortar stores. We saw a lot of success with that, and during the pandemic, things obviously changed. People couldn't just order online to us because our website, it was quite slow and outdated. So we worked on this. We took all of the customer complaints that we have, all of the criticisms that we got, and we made a brand new website. Now we are having a very good distribution. We're having very good sales, very good deliveries. And I feel like now, after COVID, we can see that how effective e-commerce is. And with drop shipping and a lot of other, logistical innovations which have been made recently, we can even look globally when it comes to offering customers quality Indian products.
So Rehana, Chaitram's, is a large grocery store out there. It's targeted towards Indian diaspora, I believe. So what does it take to go global?
So expansion today is not a choice. It's something that is necessary to survive. From that perspective, at Choithrams, today we have retail operations, omni-channel operations in 3 countries, UAE, Qatar, and Bahrain. We have around 70 plus stores. We also have choithrams.com, which is our own e-commerce platform. We're also on marketplace platforms. We're also distributing, or we are the exclusive partners for dark store as well. So from these operations, it was so important that we expand and understand the market and the requirement. Post-pandemic, what happened is, though Choithrams had its e-commerce operations since 2015, we were into marketplace operations since 2017. We found that post the pandemic, there was a clear requirement to expand the market, reach customers who need our products in different pockets, let it be in any of these 3 countries. And for that, it was critical for us to get that digital presence. So physical stores expansion was critical. Plus, we also had to see we are available where the customer can reach us, irrespective of physical store is there or not. So we have partnered with, so right now we don't see it only as an omni-channel, it's a retail ecosystem. So there are digital platform partners, payment partners, LMD partners, marketplaces, dark stores, I mean, you name it, everybody comes together to kind of deliver the product to the customer. And that ecosystem, if it works together, that's where we can scale up, expand globally, and explore to reach customer where they want to find us, when they want to find us, reach them profitably. And that profitable growth, very, very critical. So that's how we explore the market today.
So Furkan, now that all of the panelists agreed that going global is not an option, but the question is that when you go global, the competition is also global, right? The nuances of operating in a different country is very different, right? So when do you decide to go global? What do you think is the right time to go global?
Thank you, Sudhakar. My name is Syed Habib.
Syed.
Yeah. So, I'll give you the live case study in terms of the Danube perspective and how we work on this. So if you will see that, First and foremost thing is that today in this environment, every organization want to grow. And it is very, very easy to get enticed with the overall global scenario, how it works out, and you want to grow the business. And it is a very inherent thing that you want to just move ahead. But first and foremost thing and most important thing is when you understand that your concept is strong, you understand that your processes are better, your system is good, and you got a better understanding of the market or the industry where you're going to play the role. Now, if you come back to our case study of the Danube home, so Danube is one of the most unique proposition in this Middle East and North Africa region, where we are the only company where we sell anything and everything needed for a home under one roof. So where we have from a bathroom fittings to the furniture, to the garden, to the curtains, to the blind and wallpaper, everything you find under one roof. So we realized that our concept is very good, and we have customized this concept in terms of the offering of the product fitted into the need of this market. So based on that, when we saw that our processes are perfect, our sourcing is very good, our systems are very, very acumen, so that we can get the business to the next level, and we can add value to the customer, and we become relevant in the market, then only decided to go global. But when you go global, it is not that easy to, with the same system, same mindset you work. You need a local expertise, you need to understand the local market, you need to understand the global perspective, then only you move on. So therefore, for going global, we came with the concept of franchising, which is already there for across the world, but we reworked on the franchising, understanding the need of the market, and based on that we work out. So now answering to your question, we should ready to, for any organization, if you want to go global, first you need to look back in your drawing board that in terms of your process, your system, your product line, how agile you are, how strong you are, and based on that you decide that how you want to move on to the next level.
I think just to add on to that point as well, as you rightly mentioned, Syed, resources do play a great role as well, whether it be human resources or financial resources as well, especially when you're going into a new market. What we have seen is, especially entering into a new market, financial resources do become a constraint, because when you're starting to expand, you may incur a lot more expenditure as what you had initially planned. So financial resources are very important. Also, from a human resource perspective, having the right kind of people to run the operations. Scaling might look easy on paper, but when you see it and when you start actually implementing it, and most companies fail when they don't have the right kind of people in hand and the right kind of partners, as you rightly mentioned.
You know, just to add on that, like if I'll give an example, people talk about the success. I will tell you that in going expansion in the global, we understand, I personally understand, me and my team, that what not to do more than what to do.
Yeah, exactly.
So now if I'll give a live example, that everybody saw that Egypt is growing very, very aggressive. The entire country is into the expansion. So many buildings are coming, so many houses. We found an investor. We thought, okay, let's get into the Egypt and to do that. So, but when you go, we didn't try to understand the nuisance of that market, what kind of import restrictions they have, what are the financial restrictions you have, how you can create the proper letter of credit, how you understand the government policies in terms of importing the products. They do have their own. If you don't see those conditions and just you go through your own thought process, then it's not going to work. So you need to first see that your processes are strong, your product line is better, and the market you are going in, how receptive that market is. And you need to put your risk analysis in the place, then only you should go global, so that your time or your effort can compensate with the right kind of the result.
No, it's interesting, both of you mentioned that, you know, having local understanding, knowing the nuances of the market is very, very important to grow in the market, in having that. I think it's interesting, Alexander, you mentioned about having a local partner there in going global.
Come again, sorry?
Can you share your experience on your company partnering with the local guys to actually expand the market?
Mm-hmm.
What was the experience like?
Yeah, we have such experience, but it's if we speak about the full company, like it's one of, for example, services which we provide, for example, fulfillment. Yes, we find for us on the new market easier to find the partner, easier to find the company who has already achieved some good results in this way, and to start working with them. For example, we have in Saudi one of company who has like 400 warehouses, and we showed ourselves, we showed what we are doing, we were speaking with them. They even trusted in us, invested in us 1 year ago, and now when we understood that we understood how to make profitable business, we start seeing trend of coming to break even. We came to them, told them that look, our metrics such, let's start pilot in your country with your experience and with our product. So like we are going with such way in all Middle East.
It's interesting. Internet is a double-edged sword, right? It opens up new markets, it opens new geographies, so on and so forth, right? But the flip side is that the information asymmetry that most companies leverage on is nowhere. Your pricing, everything is so transparent right there, right? It works as a double-edged sword. So Mukta, what is your take on that?
I think I share a very, very different perspective.
Okay.
The reason why Miss Palatable exists is because there was no local beauty platform in Dubai. And a lot of beauty brands were actually looking at entering the UAE market. And so what we play is, we actually play a position where we are actually a local partner. And the reason why we are set up is we're actually very localized and we have no intention of going global, because the reason is that beauty brands want to come into the UAE, especially when it comes on an independent mid-tier. I'm not talking about your Dior's, I'm not talking about your LVMH brands, but I'm talking about more of your mid-tier, up-and-coming, trending brands that Gen Z, especially the Generation Z, really want to look at. So that's where we come into play, and our whole intention is really growing locally and hopefully expanding regionally as well. By nature, because we are an e-commerce platform, we do have global shipping, but in terms of our digital marketing strategy, we are very, very focused on the local market.
So it's interesting that you mentioned local market. While there is hype and hoopla around going global there, it's interesting that you are tapping into the local market and serving the local market first before thinking of going global.
There are many beauty platforms for the global world, in the US, in Asia, in Europe, but there are not that many in this region.
So it's interesting that Mukta mentioned, understanding of the local market. Her platform is very unique to the UAE, although there are global platforms there. So how important is for a brand like Choithrams, which is very ingrained in the local culture, when you go global? So how do you retain that?
So each brand has got its own strength. So when you look at going global, or when you talk about competition in the internet era, we see that, for us, the competition, how it helps us is to become better, because today we're not restricted to a single channel of operation. Today, competition is not just defined with a promotion or an offer as such. Things like the range that you carry can differentiate you from your competition. Free deliveries that you offer, the convenience that you offer. So it's just not the price which kind of defines today as to whether you're positioned right in a particular catchment. And you may have pockets of your target catchment sitting at different geographical locations. It also allows us, being global in an internet era, helps us not just get to the catchment that you think is your catchment, maybe millennials, and you need to know how to get to a Gen Z. You have to use certain types of social commerce platforms which previously you're not using. So for Choithrams, we are trying right now to be there in different channels to ensure that we are able to reach our customers, target as well as prospective customers, in the places that they would want us to be. And that's something that is helping us differentiate ourselves, because it's getting crowded. And when it gets crowded, you stand out not just with one strategy, you try different things. But by doing this as well, we try to be what's the most efficient way of reaching it. And the cost also is a very, very important criteria. You can't say that you can be all over the place while the cost of operations keep going up. So keeping the cost under control through efficient task management, picker management, we do fulfillment efficiencies, inventory management. So all these put together makes a difference as to whether you are able to get the product to the customer and meet the customer requirement. I think that's where we are trying to make our strength stronger in the midst of the competition.
Great. So Matthew, if a company is going global, obviously logistics is a very important part of it that will make or break a company.
Yeah.
So what do you think are the pillars in terms of logistics to go global?
Yeah, thanks. I think, as a global service provider, we see cross-border or international trade as critical to the global supply chain. Typically in this market, 66% of consumers will order from abroad. They'll order from a foreign website. And typical trade lanes, we're looking at China, US, and UK. So clearly cross-border in this part of the world is critical to the overall supply chain. If you look at kind of Maersk and where Maersk are trying to play within this, it's basically supporting customers where they are on that life's journey and where they are on that maturity model. So we see customers who are kind of early on in that journey and they want to focus on their own market. We see then customers who are kind of a bit more evolved and they want to try out new markets and how we can support them in that. But typically they're then faced with challenges of returns, longer lead time, obviously higher cost, and also longer lead time to the consumer. And typically we're now talking to customers who want to kind of go for a hybrid approach and look at kind of having inventory based closer to the consumer, as well as having inventory based in a central pot, typically Dubai. And then they can service local markets and they can service internationally. So I think it's a function of where you sit within that kind of global maturity level.
Great. I want to understand the perspective of Dabur on this.
From logistics?
So how have you scaled up, globally?
From
Is there a secret sauce to going global and increasing?
from a logistics perspective, or is it from a totality from an e-commerce standpoint?
Everything on a global scale.
Okay, so from a global scenario, we have done 5x, 6x numbers in a year time. The reason being is because I'm a core believer of having a blue ocean approach. How do you build a blue ocean strategy? Okay, that is the first thing, which comes with in terms of where to play and how to win. Now, if I talk from an example from a pricing standpoint, every market, if you look into, there are 3 levers of pricing consumers. One is your premium, luxury, and your mass consumers, be it USA or be it China. The only approach is that how do we approach through e-commerce or s-commerce? Okay, like what Choitrams used to say that, like in China, we are also using platforms like s-commerce. We are using Weibo and all the platforms. And also, we are also moving into expanding from B2B, B2C in these markets. Likewise, in Russia, we have opened this year in Russia, where we are selling on wild berries, Ozone kind of a platform over there. We understand that the market like Russia, where pricing it's a very sensitive market of pricing. Okay, so we have a easy to win. I have a low hanging fruit to win. So when I look into a market, I look into which is a low hanging fruit from a consumer point of view. Okay, because for my cost per acquisition also does matter for me. Here I am burning monies not only from e-commerce standpoint of view, but also from my digital point of view as well. So that really matters for me. And from a back-end part, which is basically the logistics and unit economics, we use our local partners. Basically, we have been in certain markets very strong, like KSA market, or we have Russia market or Africa market. We have a local offline distributors who are very strong, who have been there for 20, 30 years doing for Dabur for a long time. So we have utilized their supply chain metrics in a very unit economic wise, which is basically helping me a healthy bottom capex to maintain and a healthy bottom line to maintain.
Anthony, what is your secret sauce in going global?
To have long-term relationship with partners and investors, and to have investors in all countries which you want to conquer. Second, it's to be super fast. Third, it's to have really good product which you provide into the market, and the market must accept your product, and you must know about it. And only after this, I think you can go global.
So Rohit, any points that you want to add in terms of going global? What is the secret sauce, according to you, to scale up for a global business?
Well, I think it's very important to take a look at every country has a different culture, and there are very many different cultures within a country. So we always have to make sure that whatever product you're offering or service you're offering, it's thought about in terms of how the local consumer will be looking at it. What does, is it, maybe there might be some cultural differences in your home territory, but when you're trying to expand globally, you'll need to overcome those challenges. So I think keeping local traditions of different countries, respecting cultures of different countries is very important if you want to achieve that.
I think the other thing, sorry, in terms of secret sauce, is about maintaining that brand identity. So, if you're the end consumer, you're buying from that brand's website, whether it's in UAE, whether it's in Africa, whether it's in India. So being able to maintain that customer authentic experience, I think is really important. And then I think the other thing is having an absolute critical visibility on costs. If you don't understand what it's costing you to fulfill internationally, then you could be losing money per order. So I think they're the two things which are the secret sauce for me.
So Alfred, let me come to you. How do you manage the complexity of operating in multiple countries? Because every market has its own nuances. Every market has is in a different stage of evolution. Right? In some markets, I think this is better. So in some markets are evolved, and some markets are playing a catch up with this, right? So when you are operating in multiple geographies in multiple countries, so how do you identify and how do you adapt to that situations?
Understanding the local market is extremely important. What do customers really want in the end? One of the clear instances was we launched our e-commerce services in Bahrain, and we understood very quickly that rather than slotted delivery model, we were looking at more of a quick delivery model where customers wanted delivery much quicker. So business should be open for adaptation at any given point of time, recurring, depending on what customers really want in the end. As in terms of complexity, yes, the growth and maturity stages really vary from market to market. Close observation is required just to see and adapt to various market conditions.
Syed, how do you adapt? Daniel is into home furnishing, so how do you adapt?
Yeah. You were asking about the secret sauce and now the complexity. I am a strong believer of the fact that you talk about global, but it should be go local. So when you start any business, the first and foremost is you make your home ground first stronger. So when you know that, when you establish the business, there are 4 pillars. Like if your procurement is strong, your team is very perfect, you know how to manage the accounts properly, you have the logistics and operations, so you are already successful in your business operation in your territory. Now after that, when you want to go outside, you can take that formula, but you cannot replicate the same thing as it is from the start to the end. So you need to understand the local market well, you understand the nuisance of that particular market, and based on that you develop the product. Now, for example, if I will give you a few things, like when we say open our first store in Africa, so if you see that generally, with all due respect, like kind of usage what we have a product in Dubai, so their usage characteristics is different. Like for example, in an average in a one bed, so average, it's a little bit of funnier side. Like if 2 people average, your weight is there are say 100, 140 kilo people can put in a one bed, but there might be 170, 180. So the durability of the product has to be different. So what kind of raw material you use from there? What kind of designing you use there? Like, so for example, in Dubai, we use a little bit of more gold and more sheen. So if I take the same product and operate there, it is not going to work. So you create your brand identity, you keep your brand identity in 70 to 80% in your one circle. Then beside the 20 to 30%, you change it. Now, if you will see one of the most famous global brand, for example, McDonald's. So now with the McDonald's, when came into India, they started with the aloo tikki burger or the paneer tikka burger. They were not doing the same beef burger and all that what they're doing in other locations. So you need to understand the local nuisance, then you adapt to that particular market, use your main learning, and you do the proper amalgamation of the both of the fact, then only you can move ahead. But before you go there, first and foremost is your ground should be strong. First to take care of your local market, you become more stronger there. And once you're good at the process and system, then only you should move ahead. And the third aspect is before you go into any country or any territory or any geography, you need to do the proper research, proper understanding, and based on that you put your business plan. I think if you take care of these three aspects, that will definitely take care of the right kind of the growth mechanism.
Going global takes a lot of resources, right? Either in terms of the talent that is required to go global, or is it in terms of the financial resources to go global? Especially in the internet, the costs have risen up quite phenomenally. If you look at the customer acquisition cost, in most markets, in a lot of internet businesses, that is killing a lot of these brands. The customer acquisition cost has become insanely high, right? So in such a scenario, how do you build a brand on the internet without spending too much money on the internet?
I think I can take that. Digital marketing. I mean, being a tech company and we are a startup, so we've naturally had to bootstrap. We don't have that much funding. Digital marketing has been our strength. We are local, but at the same time, we do get orders coming in that are from overseas. And the reason behind that is people just love our brand and love the products that we're selling. And in their side of the world, they may not have it, or they find our pricing good. And for us being completely e-commerce, because we have a good logistics partner, we're able to ship globally as well. So for us, it's not that expensive to actually reach the global audience, but we are focused on local. So I think it's a misconception that we always have to focus on the world. But if you focus on local and pay attention to your branding and what your mission is as a company, if it's good and if it's strong, you will automatically reach the global audience.
If I could just add on to that, it depends a lot as to where your business stands on its business life cycle. So if you're a business which already has a good customer base, I think retention is the best strategy if you already have those customers, because acquiring new customers is a huge cost right now. So retention, when you say loyalty, subscription models play a very, very important part. We actually track our customers based on RFM on multiple channels. Like for example, we know that a customer shops in the brick and mortar store, and if that same customer, use our loyalty program, shops in choithrams.com, we're also talking with our marketplace partners on how do we integrate it there as well. Now, a shopping pattern for a customer is different between different channels that we have. The purpose they shop on a quick commerce platform, a 15-minute delivery, is very different from what the basket value of that would be very different from what they would shop in the store, which is more of a planned purchase. So understanding the customer, retaining them, and understanding what will make them repeat the shopping on different channels is very, very critical for us. So I think that's the way forward to make each customer the most valuable, and retain them, to grow them to the next level, make them buy a little more. A single click, how can we increase the worth of every customer? That's going to be the way forward.
If I add on, whenever you go to any market, it's for sure initially you need to spend some money to acquire the customer, create awareness. It goes without saying, whatever you do, you need to spend some money to create the awareness. But now connecting to what both of them are saying, if you will simplify it, first and foremost, you should know your customer, that who is my customer. So if you know the customer, then the second part is that how do I engage with the customer? Then if I get to the customer in terms of, it could be a digital marketing, it could be a loyalty, it could be any kind of ambience where I engage with the customer, I understand the customer need. And then the last part is, if I really, really get passionate about the customer, I love my customer, so that I know their cycling needs. Then after the phase 2, I don't need to spend money to acquire the customer. Because those customers, those data bank will work automatically with you because they understand your value of the brand and they appreciate that. So if we work on this 3 platform, initially you spend money, create the awareness, and once you acquire the customer, you do anything and everything, whatever in your capacity, to retain the customer, to reach to there. But the retention is not based on my interest. Retention is based on the customer interest, what customer is needing, and how do I fulfill their need. Then you are relevant in the market and you can continue the long perspective.
Well, it's interesting to note when businesses are going global, even consumers are going global, right? The customer is traveling abroad, the customer is traveling everywhere, so his experiences, the expectations what the customer has are ever changing, right? He understands the difference between the pricing of the same product in multiple countries. The shopping experiences that he expects are compared to the best, right? In such a scenario where obviously it is not possible to give the customer the same experience or the same pricing in multiple markets, right? So how do you manage the expectations in such a scenario? Anyone wants to jump in?
Well, just to put a perspective into that, maybe a different take on it. Online marketplaces, for example, Amazon's, eBay's, Alibaba's have really redefined the shopping boundaries. Right now, it's so much easier for customers to go and shop any product from anywhere around the globe. It's also helped businesses from one perspective as well. Businesses can easily sell to any customer in any part of the globe without having a physical presence in any country. Obviously, that's increased competition for regional players. I would say that it's so much harder to compete with international players where the unit economics might be totally different. It's posed challenges, but it also continuously pushes for innovation in one direction, if you look at it, innovating regional players to continuously work on the unit economics, improve costs, also find new avenues to reach customers as well. From a customer perspective, it's good because there's no monopoly as such. It's so many options out to the customers. From a retailers, it's always hard to stay ahead of the clutter. There's so much clutter and everyone's trying to target the same customer piece as well.
So adding to this question, I've been seeing this in skincare categories in my previous stints when I was with Bioderma or Sebamed, is that we took basically our digital as a platform ideally regionally. Let's say in terms of Europe, okay, we used influencers as a platform in educating consumers as to the product is availability at the ease of different regions. Some people we did have this challenge. Most of our European consumers in Bioderma, okay, they didn't know that the products also was available in Southeast Asia, which was in Malaysia or Hong Kong type. So we had to really do a cash burn initially in terms of educating them through all the digital marketing, SMM and SEO platform, earned, paid and owned media platforms, and which over the period of time benefited. Yes, we did have initially 5 to 6 months of cash burn, but over the period of time, the CLTV really benefited for us. Because what happened, we have seen consumers giving us feedback through our app or through a website that, when they flew to different continents, they were able to take it at ease at both online and offline level as well. So that was, and plus we had a good database of our consumers. So when we use at the lower end of the funnel, we use CRM as a platform to educate and to teach them how do we do, and which also amplified in terms of how do you maintain your skin or hair care regimes. Which, see, what happens with such kind of things is that it's not only services what you build upon for consumers, it is also in terms of consumer delight, how a consumer becomes a brand ambassador. Brands, over the period of time have realized, when it's not worth, spending more money using celebrities and all those things. Make your consumer itself as a brand ambassador. So we provide them a lot of skincare regimes or hair care regimes and all these things across even different continents when they go. So that is a benefit which we have done, but it really, initially we had some monies to also plow in to acquire that.
Well, it's interesting when say people buy an iPhone, when they buy it from US or from Middle East there, the product is still the same, right? It's an iPhone. Right? And the experience of buying an iPhone in the US is very different from buying an iPhone, say, in India or in the Middle East, right? In that case, the product remains the same. Right? So how do you standardize the experience without having to compromise on the price is what is important. Because the customer is aware of the global trend, right? You know the product, you know how it is being sold in US and all this stuff there. So in that sense, how do you manage this dichotomy? So say for example, yeah.
See, like, for example, this question for we are facing in Egypt in terms of the inflation, which is quite hitting us high. So at that point of time, we have taken a pro rata pricing into a funnel in terms of e-commerce. Okay, what will be the minimum hit rate? And whenever there is every month or every quarter we are facing this issue, even today what we speak, okay, we have considered that it into the funnel of how much consumer spending capacity is coming to this part of our category, Dabur as a category, because what is happening because of the economic conditions over there, okay, we have seen consumers also moving from a premium luxury to mass category as well. So it's a benefit for us from a Dabur point of view. So we have taken that a statistical method in e-commerce. We have done a data analytics on that, and we maintain. Yeah, there is a hit certain few months, but over a year down the lane, we have a healthy P&L to be maintained.
From my perspective, you do have, as you asked that, whether you understand the expectation of the customer and then you challenging it. Because in current scenario, we are living in a very incredible time period where the systems and the overall customer behavior is changing so fast. So therefore, if you want to be alive, whether it's the global market or the local market, so you should be very, very agile. Being agility is one of the key, should be in the nerves of the organization. So when you work on that, then you need to, today, you have a lot of tools in terms of whether it's a data analytics, machine learning, whatever you do. So those are all the enablers. So you take the benefit of those informations to take the decisions. But end of the day, based on your own experience, your team's intelligence and understanding, then you rejuvenate yourself and come with the new concept that how you want to work out. You should have a capacity to adapt to the new changes as soon as possible based on the current scenario. I think if you work with the two things, right data and as your system to be agile to change as per the requirement, then that is the mantra to being competitive and being able to fulfill the expectation of the customer and connecting with the current scenario.
Just to add on to that, to your question that iPhone is an iPhone. For food retailers like us, when a customer orders milk, bread, or banana, it's the same thing that all of us in this, market are servicing them. But the most important thing is to understand, or to map the customer journey, if there are any inadequacies in the customer journey, right from the discovery to servicing the customer with the physical product, to the returns process, if there is a return, to the payment. So if that entire customer journey, if you're able to map and, minimize the hiccups, I won't say remove because that's, every customer is different, their expectations are different. But on your basic SLAs, we call it, in terms of matching the ETA, that's expected, the delivery time that you have, is your order 100% fulfilled? You have one item missing, the customer is not able to make their recipe, which they have planned for the day. If they ordered something and they don't get the same product which they have ordered, you deliver them a different product. Shelf life, for example. You've ordered milk, the shelf life of milk is 4 days, and you're delivering it on the last day. They won't be able to finish it. There are so many nitty-gritties in the way that we look at a customer journey, and if you as a retailer is able to meet the requirements, then you become different from everybody else who's selling milk and banana. So I think it's not just about, the product, but it's about how you, keep up to your promise, the commitment to the customer. That makes a whole lot of difference on why a customer should choose this brand versus another one.
True. Isn't it a challenge when the reputations of brands, when they have a million touch points, like hundreds and thousands of experience that you have in that sense, reputations are built and destroyed overnight. One irate customer is all you need to destroy the reputation of the brand, because people are more vocal about it. People are very finicky about the process, their expectations and everything, right? So when you deal with multiple people, when the touch points are multiple, so how do you manage to have a uniform expectations across geographies?
Yeah, like if you see that, of course, well, for me, customer is customer, and you know whether it is from Egypt or from Senegal or from UAE. So every customer has a similar set of requirement, but of course, the way could be different. But the basic is that if you go to the basic of the business, I bring a right product which is being needed by the customer. I fulfill the right kind of servicing, and I am being relevant to that. I am a firm believer of the theory of the relevancy. So if you are relevant as a brand, you give a right kind of product and fulfill the need of the customer, then you are being sorted on that. So whether the customer is from anywhere in the globe, if you work on the similar frame, you work out. But of course, there are some cultural difference, so you need to adapt to that cultural difference. Whether you need to go like in the morning, you should do more delivery, or you should do more delivery in the evening, or you communicate more through the phone or through the WhatsApp. So these are the different channels. But in technical level, if you will take care of your customer on the broader 4 parameters, then you are sorted.
I think that's where CX also comes into picture.
Yeah.
You know, multiple channel, your CX, your customer experience, how are you mapping it, how are you taking care of it? That plays a big role. I think the simple mantra would be think global, operate local. Think global by mapping every other aspect of customers around the globe which you need to tweak, put that into digital, put that into a process, make it as cost efficient. But when you operate, look at local requirement, look at local partnership, look at local rules and regulations, taxation policies, currency exchanges. And if you get both these aspects right, I think we will be able to scale up the business.
Anthony, I'd like you to discuss, when going global, there is always an option whether to build or to buy.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you decide when going global?
My answer on previous question, first I have one thought, very important, that's like quality of the product and understand how to work with customers. I think it's equal how many scenarios, daily scenarios, your product close to the customer. And if you wanted to go, for example, to different continents and you don't understand, for example, in Middle East, it's very similar patterns of behaviors of customers in different countries. Like if you succeed in Dubai, you will succeed in Riyadh for sure. But if you go for USA with your products from Dubai, for example, you need to collect scenarios. You need to speak and communicate with customers and understand which scenarios you can close by your product for them, which problem you're closing to them. And next question, can you repeat, please?
I think you summarized it well, sir. So it's been a wonderful session, Hais. I think it's been a wonderful, to summarize the entire discussion. One thing that came up is that, customer is at the heart of what we are all trying to do. Customer is the whole source of our existence. And whether you are going global or staying local, I think understanding the consumer and understanding the cultural nuances in going global are the most important things that's coming up. So it's been a wonderful talking to you guys. It's been a very informative session. And thank you all the panelists for having this wonderful discussion.
Thank you.
Thank you.